My name is Chris Day, and this is my wife, Amanda. We have 2 daughters, and we are a foster family in southeastern Iowa. My heart to foster began to really grow when I was a youth pastor in Nebraska. There was a student who was abandoned by his parents over addiction and needed a home. God quickly opened the door for that home to be mine. Over his time with me and my time in student ministry, the Lord taught me the impact that love and stability can have on children that come out of trauma. I've worked in youth ministry for 15 years, and I've had a front row seat to the difference between children that are raised in loving Christian, gospel-centered homes versus those who come out of bad situations. I can confidently say that having faithful parents, biological or not, makes the biggest difference in the lives of children and is the most effective avenue for sharing the gospel.
Yeah, and I feel like I can attest to that firsthand because my heart for fostering began when I went into the system in middle school, which is already such a hard time in a child's life. And my dad had passed away, my mom was an addict, and after years of neglect and abuse, I had enough and I reported it. And the roller coaster of being in the system began. I went in and out of homes a few times, went into some different temporary placements before a friend's parents stepped up to be my permanent home. And I was in a really dark place by that point. And I didn't make it easy for them because my faith in people was gone. And I want to pause and explain some truths that I feel like are important. There are 2 things that children believe without being taught. 1, that your parents love you more than anyone else. And 2, that your childhood reality is the reality of the entire world. For children being raised in a healthy and loving home, these truths are instrumental in pointing them towards Jesus and for seeing the good in the world. But for children who grow up with neglect, abuse, or abandonment, these truths destroy us. So as I entered into the Rudolph's family, I was convinced that they loved me less than my mom did, who ultimately decided she didn't want me because no one could love me more. And that all of these people were corrupt and selfish, because to me, all people were. And until these beliefs were undone, I couldn't see Jesus or hope for a life full of anything but pain. I was in survival mode. But my incredible foster parents saw those things in my heart with the help of the Lord, and they knew I just needed unconditional love and time. Time to trust and heal, and time to believe. My foster parents completely changed my life because they taught me that my previous reality didn't have to be my future. They planted the seeds of faith and told me who Jesus was for the very first time. They explained the truth of sin that caused me to finally not blame myself for my mom's actions. And the seeds they planted ultimately led me to Christ, where I found true and everlasting healing from all that trauma that I experienced. They were my family. They still are my family. And they were sitting in the 3rd row at our wedding. So I knew when I became an adult, without a shadow of a doubt, I wanted to be that for other kids in foster care. And since starting this journey, we have learned some really hard things and seen some really incredible things. As foster parents, we are called to not only love the child, but to walk alongside the parents and help them rebuild their family. The foster system places reunification above all else, and the best chance that these children have for success and for Christ to continue to be a part of their lives when they leave your home is if you can reach the hearts of their parents and give them all the gift of knowing Christ as we do. We've learned firsthand that the system is messy and broken. We've seen that not all people involved care as much as we wish they did or want them to, and that we are the ones called to advocate for these children. While they're in our home, we have the opportunity to not only share the amazing truth of the gospel with them, but to heal them, to help them physically, mentally, emotionally, because they will come to you. They'll come broken and scared and oftentimes sick. This calling is not about gaining a forever child into your home, although that can often be the end result. It's about helping to heal others' children when they can't. It's about making a lasting impact in a child's life by means of medical, emotional, spiritual, and physical care. things that we take for granted. I'll share our most recent example with you. So we took in a 16-month-old boy and a 5-year-old girl in our home. The boy came covered in sores. He had staph infection all over his body. He wasn't really eating, and he wasn't talking at all. The girl was full of anger, full of hurt, and she had tantrums daily, big tantrums. And she was behind in school, quiet, and not even trying to participate. We only had them for a month before they were unexpectedly moved for transportation convenience. And although we were sad to have them taken so quickly, they left us completely different children. Baby boy was fully healed, eating like a madman every chance that he could, and babbling away any sound he heard. And sweet, sweet girl was joyful. Her tantrums had subsided by 50% already, and her teachers raved that for the first time in her life she was trying, and they celebrated her writing her name. But the best part of little girl is that she knew Jesus, that he loved her, and that he listened to her prayers. That only took 1 month of selfless love, 1 month of stability, and a family that modeled Jesus.
Now we hear all the time things like, I just don't know, I'd get too attached, or my heart is too big and I'd never be able to let go. We can't handle anymore, our lives are so busy. I can't relate to anything they've been through, so how could I help? Well, I promise you, our hearts are no stronger than yours, and our lives are no less busy, but no matter how much you think it will hurt these kids so much more to not have a home that can show them the love of Christ. Church, we are called to care for these kids, and if we don't, sure, someone else will, but will they learn who Jesus really is? Our lives don't have to be perfect. Our plates will always be full, but we have everything these kids need because they need to know love, the gospel, and Jesus.
So of course we know not every person is called to be a foster parent, but there are so many needs. In the foster care system, there are so many needs with foster parents, and everyone, if you follow Jesus, is called to do something, to be involved, to love the orphans, and there is something that you can do. So reach out, ask questions, and get involved.